caliber level. In regards to the game this week, I'll take your questions.
Trouble coding. The interceptions are probably the highest, looked at the most. How do you judge a defensive back as far as whether he's having a good season or not?
I think what you just mentioned, I mean, production, that's going to stand out, particularly when the fans have, a say-so in the voting, because they don't watch the game sometimes as we may watch it. In regards, I think he's one of the best tackling DBs, not just corners, but DBs in the National Football League when you really break down and watch the tape. He's doing a phenomenal job there, and that's one of the things that we, believe in. We just cover corners. We tackle. That's a major part of what we do, and got to give a lot of credit to Daniel Bullock as well, just with his, teaching and getting those guys to perform at a high level. He doesn't get enough credit as well.
What improvements have you seen from Mooney from last year in the film you watched to where he's playing right now?
Just in the details of his technique. And then the consistency in which he practiced. I think you guys heard me say this, once this year and calling him out, he's full speed on a Friday. I mean, he's going to the ground trying to get the ball. He made a statement the other day talking to the team when Kyle had him break it down, and which I love. He said, continue to compete against the man in the mirror. And that's what he's been doing all year. And that's his quote. He's been competing against himself, trying to get better each and every, not week, but day. And it's shown up and it's paid off for him.
Did you have this relationship with his daughter has really kind of turned him around from being happy at home to being happy here and being able to focus more? Have you seen that shift in the last 2 months?
I've seen definitely a change in his demeanor. We talk about it all the time. I think he is at a different place and space in his life, and how he handles certain situations. I'm just so proud of him, not only what he's doing on the field, but who he is as a father. It's just tremendous.
When you have someone like that in that room, what does it do for the younger guys, specifically Deion North?
It definitely, shows how you got to lead by example, and he does it the right way. I got to really recognize Gibson as well, older vet in the room that, shows those young guys how to do it. But, Mooney has been consistent all year in his approach and, how he studies the game. He sees certain things. I talked to the coaches about this watching tape, even when the play is not coming to his side, just the way he uses his eyes and how he positions himself, based off certain route combination. You can tell that he understands the concepts.
Longer look at Logan Ryan this past weekend and Sebastian Joseph Dane a little bit shorter, but what were just kind of impressions of both of those guys?
Well, you talking Logan Ryan and who else you said?
Sebastian Joseph Dane.
Logan, again, great communicator. I don't know if you guys saw that one open field tackle that he made, saving a touchdown, and that's his job as a safety in the National Football League. And I think the guys love playing with him. I think he has really accepted and fit right into the culture that we have, and it shows out there on the field. Sebastian, I thought did some good things. He is a guy that has been a two-gapper his whole career. So, Kasaric is still working on him, number one, with his stance and his get-off, but his effort was there. We just got to continue to improve on his technique.
Without divulging rotations and how much guys are going to play, how eager are you to see some guys that haven't gotten a lot of snaps this year in this game?
It's going to be great, just to be able to see those guys come in and perform as they did, the latter part of the Commanders game. And the one thing that I enjoy seeing that, the standard didn't change. It doesn't matter who's in there. So definitely looking forward to, whomever's out there still playing the 49ers way.
Steve, at the beginning of games and halves, Cleveland Farrell seems to be really impactful. Are you noticing that as well? And is there a way to, get his endurance better or spot him better so that he's big in big spots for you?
I really, to be quite honest, I don't think there's an issue with his endurance. He runs. If you look at his GPS, he probably runs more than some of the other skill players. To be quite honest, the way he chases the ball and runs down the field. I think he does a lot for us, setting the tone early in the game, and Kaseric really does a good job, just how he rotates those guys and constantly trying to keep them fresh. So I think Klee has been consistent for us, and hopefully he can continue to do that for us moving into the playoffs.
What are the areas of improvement you're going to emphasize over these next 2 weeks before the playoffs?
I think as we've been talking, it's no different from the beginning of the year. Fundamentals and technique. We talk about our weapons all the time: eyes, hands, hips, and feet. What happens this time of the year, guys start pressing, wanting to try to make a play, get outside the scheme. They feel like, here's the playoffs, and then now we got to increase our play. Our standard stays the same, and we want to be 11. So that's been our approach all week. It's just really fundamentals and technique, getting off blocks, setting edges, running to the football, because our scheme will take care of itself.
Greenlaw's played really well for you. He didn't make the Pro Bowl. How much do you expect him to play in this game where you have an extra linebacker up to try to maybe reduce some of his workload in this Week 18?
Well, Kyle will make that call in regards to, how much he wants those guys to play. The mindset that we're trying to create is that, we can't let up. We want to win this last football game. We want to have momentum going into the playoffs. So, Kyle will determine exactly how much those guys will play. In regards to him not making the Pro Bowl, it's definitely disappointing. He hasn't mentioned anything. I'm just saying it's disappointing in regards to myself, because I think he's still one of the elite linebackers in this league. The way he plays, he's a tone setter for us. Him and Fred both out there, and he missed a few games, and once again that happens a little bit from a standpoint of the voting. But if you know football, he's one of the best in the league.
Seems to be a scenario where Isaiah Oliver could play some safety on Sunday. If that does come to pass, who else is available to play nickel to kind of fill in it?
Thought about trying to get you out there if that's possible. No, seriously. We don't know where exactly. Oliver may play a little bit of safety, definitely the nickel position. Sammy Womack, is a guy that's played there before. So we definitely have some options, and most important, we just got to do a great job trying to get through this game in regards to who finishes. So thank you, guys.
I don't know if you can say or not, or whether you know or not, but do you expect to have Jalen Moore for this game?
Jalen was able to practice today. I think he was a full participant in practice. So
You've talked a little bit about Ben Barch and wanting him or liking him as a center prospect. Has he done any work there, and is he a possibility at center on Sunday?
yeah, he works. He works it every day. He's been here. He's been working it on the scout team. He also worked it some with our group today. Feliciano was in work doing some other things, and so he was able to get some center work. He's been doing it all along. We've been trying to rotate him in at guard and center. Not natural for him yet, but he's working really hard at it. And so it's a very, very good possibility on Sunday that you'll see him some at center.
Chris, for a few years, you had Brunskill, obviously, who could do a little bit of everything, and you had to replace him this offseason. Feliciano was kind of that guy. How important has he been to have just a dependable guy who can be kind of your sixth man, but then start?
Yeah, no, it's huge. I mean, you get these guys, these veterans that they understand the game, they understand the positions. They've had a career of starting at left guard, right guard, center, so they're not, it doesn't trip them out when all of a sudden 1 week you're at right guard, 1 week you're at left guard, the next week you're at center, you go in and end the game at center. They've done all that stuff before, so it's invaluable. And yet at the same time they can start and play. Are they? It's cool. It's really good. And it seems like every team you're on, you have that guy. You need to really find that guy because they really are invaluable. It does sometimes you'd love it to all be young guys. You'd love that position, the 6, 7, 8 linemen, to all be young and developing players because, there's for a lot of different reasons. And you hope they develop into starters as opposed to having 3 or 4 old heads in there that are just, you know what they are and they're solid. But like we talked about the other day, we were talking about the splash plays for a guard and a splash plays for a running back, right? That sometimes just the good old dependable, the comfortable old shoe works for you, and that's what, for lack of a better term, that's what Feliciano is.
What did you like about him when you were looking at him in the offseason? And has he maybe exceeded your expectations even?
Here's the thing, and I think when we study film, there's not a lot of teams that do what I don't know if you guys know, we look a little different, us, the Dolphins. We kind of have a style, Kyle and Mike and the guys that do it. So it looks a little bit different, and we kind of do a little bit more outside zone and run a little bit more. So when you study other teams, you just don't see them do that as much. So you have to look hard, whether you're evaluating college film, free agent film, you have to look a little bit harder to say, where do I see glimpses of what we do? And then you say, how many times do you think you can do this for a sustained amount of time in a game? And really, you didn't see it at all until what I saw him pull on some plays at center or get out in space on some of the toss crack plays. And I said, you know what? It's in there. And John's not a guy coming out of college or through his pro career where you said he'd be a great scheme fit for our offense. But it's in there, and if you drill it every single day and it's there, you can pull it out of him. And he can do it consistently. So we saw that little glimpse, and when he got here, even Kyle would say early, you're like, I don't know if this Feliciano guy, but then when you give him an opportunity to play and he practiced it, he got kind of used to it. It's there, and it's kind of cool to see.
There's a motion you do mostly with Christian that looks kind of funky, and he ends up in some funky spots where he shuffles to the side, and you can end up in some weird areas. What is the benefit of that motion in particular, and sort of how did that come to be?
Well, some of it is, you motion for coverage tells. Others, you just get him in a position where he can best release to do what we need to do for a pattern. I think it's all play-driven and dependent upon what we need from the back. And it gives a little different look to the defense at times, or undresses the defense, or tells us something. So there's a lot of different reasons to do it.
How do you find the balance of guys maybe sitting out? I know you've mentioned before, like when Trent Williams missed a couple days, he didn't play his best when he came back. So how do you find the balance of that when you've got guys that may sit out this week and then you've got a bye week next week?
Yeah, the thing is that you really these practices become important. You need to practice. Everybody needs to practice. Everybody needs to practice hard because you can't just take weeks off. Nobody can. It's any sport. You just don't take weeks off and jump back and play at the level we've been playing, pretty solid football through the season. You want guys to stay at that level. And at some point you realize a guy doesn't need to play in a game to risk injury because of where the game is. It could be the end of a game that you're getting killed in, or it could be a game you're way ahead in, or it could be a game that doesn't have as much consequence in the big picture. At the same time, you still want a guy to get ready. Same thing at the preseason games. You're like, okay, should they never play a preseason game? How many snaps are there? Is it 30 snaps? Is it 40? What is that number? So it's that balancing act between what's the health of the player now, where is he in his development, what does he need to do to keep his edge and keep himself ready to go? Because if you look at it, you say, okay, if a guy practiced once a week, Trent usually practices, let's use him for example, he usually practices on Thursdays and Fridays. Fridays is more of a down-tempo practice for us. Thursday's a full-speed practice. Wednesdays he doesn't practice, he's with strength and conditioning. So if you say you take that and say 3 weeks, this week, next week, the following week, that's 3 practices and no games. Is that enough time is that enough work in 21 days to be ready to play at the highest level? It could be for Trent, or you might need to have a few more reps than that to be sure you're ready to play. Same thing with preseason. It's a balancing act. And how many of those reps are to a point where, like Trent would say to me, we're scrimmaging against the Raiders and he's getting bull rushed a little bit. And I'm like, hey, dude, you need to sit down a bit on an anchor. He goes, Coach, I only got so many anchors left in this body. He said, so I ain't going to waste them all in training camp against the Raiders. I'm going to save them for the season. And I said, understood, big fella, and so he does the best he can. But it's right. It's one of the reasons he's been able to play as long as he has, is not every rep is a, he understands the big picture. And so it's us talking to him, and that's my relationship with him, Kyle's relationship with him. We're able to say, hey, Trent, we think you need this. And I think as he's gotten older, he's appreciated that he does. Everybody needs to stay sharp. Everybody. I think I always go back to other sports. Kobe Bryant or Magic Johnson, all of them, they still shoot free throws. They don't stop shooting free throws because they're great players. They still shoot free throws, right? They still have to practice.
Chris,
But Colton McKivitz into the starting lineup right away, and he obviously held the position. He's played through all these games. The first 3 sack game with T.J. Watt, everybody was a little nervous about it, and outside the building, you guys didn't seem to be so much. What have you seen from him? Is he about what you expected?
Colt's really doing a good job this year. Obviously, there's always room for improvement, and he's getting better every week. He works really, really hard. He's got a great attitude about getting better, and he's got a great, Colt's great response is, I'll ask him, hey, Colt, what happened on that play? And Colt looks at me and said, Yeah, I didn't do what you've told me to do 1,000 times. I said, okay, what are we going to do about it? So the point is he understands what he needs to do and how he needs to do it to fix it. And that's not like, oh, coach knows everything, but it's like, he's like, yeah, I get it. I didn't do what I'm supposed to do, and I got to do it. And so he's got that workmanlike attitude that every single day I'm going to get out here, I'm going to work, I'm going to do things well. And when I was worried after the first game because I think I explained to you guys, we did have a chip system to help them. But sometimes the chip system based on coverages is not, you need to get those guys out. And sometimes chipping isn't the best thing, so you have to take your chances. And we did more of that than I would have thought we were going to do, but we had to do it. So Colt had to hold up on some one-on-ones, and he lost some and gave up the 3 sacks the first game. And I had to be sure that he understood that if we put anybody out there and give him that many one-on-ones against that player, he's going to get beat. And some we could have got the ball out, others the guy beat him and got a sack. And so I had to make sure he's okay coming out of that. And he's the right. But some guys it's hard. The bright lights come on, and you're like, you don't want to be the guy that everybody sees, oh, crap, that was the sack that cost us the drive, the game, whatever it is. And Colton's got that tough mindset to get himself through it.
Chris, Brendel was a street free agent. He's now been a Pro Bowl alternate in back-to-back years. Did you envision that for him? And talk to us a little bit about what his strengths are as a player.
Well, Jake Brendel, the first time when he and Jesse Davis, they came to us in Miami when I was there in practice squad, and the head coach there at the time cut 3 starters, 3 draft picks for the Miami Dolphins after like the 5th or 6th week of the season. He just cut them. He was tired and done with it and wanted to make a change. So Adam Gase cut 3 guys, and we poached 3 practice squad players, one of them being Jesse Davis, the other being Jake Brendel, and some other, I don't remember the other player. And the day you got out there with Jake, you're like, wow, this guy's got some quickness, this guy's got some strength, he's got some toughness, he's intelligent, he's intelligent, and I just liked the way he played. And you saw everything that you would want. Now, we didn't do everything in Miami, and subsequently they didn't, that we do here. And I knew that in this system, he was kind of a prototypical center for this system, the quickness, the speed, the strength, and things like that, and the intelligence, the importance to how he can run a line, leadership qualities and things like that. Who's to say, I didn't, who envisions Pro Bowl, not Pro Bowl. I really think, I love the guys. They play really, 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 really well. I just think the system, Kyle, how we do things, how we plays build upon each other. It allows guys to maximize their abilities, right? They get to show everything that they are. They can be highlighted in this offense if they're willing to use the plays, because the plays work together. And so you can help yourself if you understand the offense. And that's kind of what these guys have done. Not to diminish that they're not Pro Bowl players, but they're, it all fits together for them here. And that's why these guys have all been able to flourish and have some success in the system, because they are the right guys for what we do, not just temperament, not just intelligence, but physically the quickness and things that we need.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you both for your backs come right now, so we'll go back.
How does it feel to be getting your first Pro Bowl recognition?
Yeah, what an honor. I'm very thankful, obviously, to everyone who voted and all the support across the country. It's so cool, actually. And for all my teammates, too, for them to be recognized. It's sweet. We got a special team, special unit of guys, and but to be listed up there with them, man, what an honor. So, yeah, very thankful for it.
You got the most fan votes out of all players.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, it's crazy, I don't know really what to say to that. It's cool, sort of just, this last year, how crazy it's been, and then, to sort of see that and the support from everybody watching, just all of it, the whole story, and in the last year, it's been a blessing.
How is the postseason different than the regular season, or is it?
Yeah, I just feel like you get everybody's best ball, everybody's in tune to, what they need to do at a high level, and every drive, every play, really matters. Obviously, that should be the case for the regular season, but postseason, last year I feel like I felt that. I feel like, even our first game against the Seahawks, it's like, man, we're getting their best shot. It's a close game all the way up in the first half, and And then the Dallas game, it's close. Every possession matters. Not turning the ball over, like all the little things matter. And so I just feel like the intensity is just cranked up a little bit more. Regular season, that should be the case, but sometimes, things happen and you can lose a couple games and still make it to where you need to be. But postseason, there's very little room for error. So
Obviously, you're gonna do whatever the coach says and go along with the program. Is there even a small part of you that's thinking, there's a football game going on this Sunday and I'm not playing in it?
yeah, a little bit. Just the initial conversation that we had, it was like sort of, for me, I was like, man, this is all I know is to prepare for the next game and get ready. And especially when we went out to practice and I saw my teammates doing that, and everyone dressed out, ready to go and preparing for the Rams. And then I'm practicing, but obviously not getting the go for the game. So a little weird in that sense, but it's part of it. And obviously we're doing what's best for the team and the organization. So always got to remember that and have that in mind. But yeah, just the competitor in me. Obviously, I want to play and compete all the time. So, but that's the case in the situation that we're in. So.
How plugged in will you be on Sunday? Like what will you have the headphone on? Communicating with Sam. Like what will be kind of your MO, or what are you planning to do?
Yeah, I mean, just be in tune with the play calls and everything. This week I've still gone about my process and stuff with the install with the plays and everything, and I'm gonna do my part to help out Sam and what I'm seeing on the sideline, just like what he's done all year for me. And so, I'll have the headset on and listening to all the plays and stuff, and still going through my process in terms of, if I was out there, what would I be doing, and how I'm seeing the game and stuff, and try to help out Sam as best as I can. So that's what I'll be doing.
What are some of the things that you've learned from Sam this year, whether it's during a game or in meetings or in practices that stand out?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. Obviously, he's been a guy who, has been here in this league for, I think it's his 6th year now, and just the process, the routine, how to study, what he's seeing with concepts and how he's ran things before. He's been able to pour into me and help me out with that, and in meetings, sort of just remind me of little things within plays, and especially before we get up, before the game starts, the night before we go through all the plays, Brandon, and I, and he just does a great job with just the little things within the plays of, hey, reminder on this play, this is where we're going with this or that, and he brings up these little things that are huge for me as a quarterback. And then obviously on the sideline and stuff, he's bringing up just good things, tendencies that he's seen on film that they could possibly do during the game and to not forget about. So he's done a tremendous job, and he's a very selfless guy. He puts the team first, and he's for the room, not just about himself or anything. Like, that dude is for the room and for this organization. So very thankful to have him.
In between drives, did you have a set routine? I see you talking sometimes to Sam, sometimes to Greasy. Is that kind of just something that you try to do in between each drive to check in and recalibrate?
100%, yeah. Usually it's, to start off, it's Greasy with what he's seeing and what we're trying to do. And then obviously the quarterbacks were all sitting next to each other, and after Greasy's sort of done talking, Sam and Brandon will chime in with what they're seeing, just with everything, and sort of the mindset and stuff, and they're real about what's going on, what the situation is, and where I should be, and they sort of just, again, they remind me of things with what I can do, because they've played the position, they've been in those moments, so it's been sweet having them with me and continue to go with them. So.
In the 4 losses, you've thrown 9 picks, and we've talked about it before about being an aggressive mindset, being smart with the football. How do you lock yourself into that mindset of stay aggressive but take care of the ball?
Yeah, it's just doing what I'm coached. Our system is really good. We got really good players, and so for me, I don't have to be superhero and or Superman and go out there and say I need to get it done right here and throw in this tight window. I have to go throughout my process and what I'm coached, and we'll be successful. That's been the case. And the times where I've been too aggressive with things and stuff, we've gotten in trouble, turned the ball over, and then obviously those games we've come down to losing some of them. So that's something that I have to obviously always have in my mind. But at the same time, when I see something and I'm confident about it, I'm going to let it rip. So I think that's sort of the fine line of it. But playing within the system and how I'm coached is always good enough here. So.
is there any concern, about not playing, a meaningful snap for, 3 weeks? And, if so, how do you kind of, try to stay as much in rhythm as possible?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I brought up to Kyle, and then he brought up some really good points, just in terms of the preseason, not getting a whole lot of reps and snaps, and then going into Pittsburgh and playing, well enough to win. And same with the bye week, coming back and having a good performance against Jacksonville. So I think I've done it, this year in terms of having some rest and then coming in and playing. And so that's something that's feels good to go back and remind myself about. And not only that, I'm going to be practicing against really good defense, obviously our guys, for the next couple of weeks too. So and it's not like I'm going to be sitting on the couch for the next couple of weeks doing absolutely nothing. We're going to be out here still getting good reps against our defense, working on the little things I need to work on, my footwork, my reads at practice, and whoever we end up playing in our first round, we'll be ready for it. So.
Between the lines there, did you just at least mildly lobby to play a little something?
It was just part of our conversation, just being real with all the situations and scenarios with this week and playing and stuff. So that's something that we brought up and made the decision after that. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brock.